Ellen 24/7 lights up your day with unbeatable shows that guarantees absolute access to stories that revolves around politics, entertainment, and sports. Breaking news, plus detailed reports and analysis. At Ellen 24/7, where the story goes, we go.
Good morning and welcome to this morning show on Ellen 24/7 this Thursday morning, the 21st day of November 2024. It's a beautiful Thursday morning, you would say, and the year is fast running to an end. I am Olasunbo Kuromi and I welcome you specially.
And I am Tehila Debbie Obole.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. Looking sharp.
Thank you.
Nice, nice, nice. It's a beautiful Thursday morning, like I said. And yes, the year is quite, running to a close very quickly too. And then you could feel the atmosphere really changing. Even
December is in the air.
Yes.
You see the trees and
the festivities.
Christmas jingles already around the
and a lot of
malls
decorations, you know, as you move around on the streets. So, and of course, the health and lifestyle edition of the morning show, it's all we do on the Thursday morning. And we have a lot lined up for you. And of course, the show has already begun. And let's go right into it, bringing you the top stories that we have for you today. So, in the news, Tinubu seeks Senate's confirmation of INEC commissioners.
On the front burner, erectile dysfunction, influx of sex enhancement drugs in Nigeria.
And also on the news, FCCPC uncovers substandard sugar in Nigerian markets.
Plus, U.S. Embassy shuts Kyiv office over fear of potential air attack.
All these and more we have lined up for you on today's edition of this morning show. You want to stick around and go with us on this beautiful journey, especially for the front burner discussion as we celebrate the International Men's Day, which is just a few days ago. And so we decided to focus on men's health. So you want to stick around for that special discussion indeed. But right about now, we take a very quick break. And when we return, we'll be going to the developing stories. Just stay tuned. Thank you very much for staying tuned to Ellen 24/7. You're watching this morning show this Thursday morning on the 21st day of November. Now it's time to look at what's in the developing stories. Our very first story, FCCPC uncovers substandard sugar in Nigerian markets. Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission on Wednesday says it has uncovered substandard and unregistered sugar products in Nigerian markets, particularly in the southwest and northeast. FCCPC spokesperson Onadaje Ijaugwe disclosed this in a statement, saying the fake products are particularly smuggled brands from Brazil, including Grupo Moreno, Teros, USIS, Jao Alvena, and Arapura Bauneja. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has uncovered the availability of substandard and unregistered sugar products, the statement read. He said the products were smuggled through Nigeria's porous borders, particularly neighboring countries, including Cameroon and the Benin Republic. The Commission's investigation revealed that the substandard sugar brands often lack proper labeling, including production and expiry dates, batch numbers, and mandatory NAFDAC registration. It noted that smuggling, facilitated through porous borders with neighboring countries such as Cameroon and Benin Republic, has exacerbated the problem, making enforcement and traceability difficult. This is quite an interesting story indeed. Yeah. And of course, sugar is just one of the several other things or goods that are smuggled into the country, and of course, bringing the issue of substandard products to the forefront. This is quite a good one for the FCCPC. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, so first off, we have to think about the fact that our borders are porous. So like you said, this is just one of the many things that are probably smuggled into, the country. So we are looking at borders that other things can pass through, whether it's consumable products, whether it's things that people use, maybe beauty products and other things. So it's an issue on its own, And also, we are talking about people's health, because if you're talking about consumable products, you're looking at people's health, how it affects individuals, how it affects families, because people may not know, they definitely will not know that these things are harmful, these things are fake, or they are not good for their health. So they end up consuming it, and it causes problems over time. And also looking at the economic side of it, when we see things smuggled into the country, first of all, it's definitely going to be cheaper than, the original things. That's because you see that other people would pay custom taxes, and all of that to get it into the country. But in a case where you smuggle it in, it will definitely be cheaper because you didn't get to go through all of those processes. So you see that we, as a nation, we are not benefiting in terms of, the sale of that particular product because we have fake in our country. So we're looking at it from different sides. And it's good that NAFDAC and the FCCPC are fighting against this, but now we see that they say that these things are not exactly traceable. So it's like fighting a ghost. It's there, but how can you get a hold of it to deal with it? So consumers themselves have to be aware that, okay, if I don't see NAFDAC registration number, if I don't see expiry dates, batch number, all of that, I shouldn't buy this kind of product.
Yeah. Very, very well said indeed. Well said. Let's move on now to our very next story.
Oh, okay, moving on to the next story. Bill on diaspora voting scales second reading. A bill to amend the Constitution and provide for diaspora voting has scaled second reading in the House of Representatives on Wednesday. The bill, co-sponsored by the Speaker Abbas Tajuddin and Sadiq Abdullahi, seeks to amend the 2022 Electoral Act and provide opportunities for Nigerians in diaspora to vote. The bill was passed for its second reading in July and had been referred to the Committee on Electoral Matters for further legislative action. However, after scaling the second reading on Tuesday, it has been referred to the Constitution Amendment Committee for further legislative action. All right, there we have it. Diaspora voting, it's a good one because we have over 70 million Nigerians that are not in Nigeria. So if everybody that belongs to this country can have a voice, it's going to be very good for a nation, and especially with their experiences and exposure outside the country, they would know, I think, in my opinion, they would know what is good for the country comparing to other countries. But another question is, are we ready for this now?
That is it.
Yes, are we ready for this now?
And how I hope it won't be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
When you see situations like this, and then we still have the issue of having having to have a free and fair election within the country. And then you now have diaspora voting. You know, unscrupulous elements will always find a way to take advantage of this kind of, you know, situations to, you know, perpetrate their evil of wanting to scuttle the votes or, you know, do vote buying, you know,
all of that,
manipulate all those processes. But then again, a very good move, a very good idea. But if it can't be done, you know, due process and every aspect, loopholes can be blocked properly and be, you know, taken care of, I think it's something that can really, you know, be viable for Nigeria as a whole. Let's move on now to our very next story. The Institute of Genomics and Global Health conducts its first human genomic for the first time in Nigeria. The institute, in a statement published on its website, said this achievement also marks the first human genome sequencing in Africa using Illumina's Plus sequencer. The IGH statement noted that despite Africa being the birthplace of humanity and harboring immense genetic diversity, less than 2% of human genomes sequenced and analyzed so far have been from the African people. Using the technology, more than 20,000 whole human genomes can be sequenced per year. This is 2.5 times the output of It said that the facility will significantly increase the supply of qualified technical workforce for next-generation sequencing with lab management, bioinformatics, big data analytics, and advanced artificial intelligence / machine learning applications. According to the World Health Organization, all genome sequencing, that is WGS, is a laboratory technique that has the potential to change how we detect and monitor microbial hazards in the food chain. WGS is useful for understanding foodborne disease through enhancing routine surveillance, outbreak detection, and outbreak response, and source identification using a One Health approach. This is quite an interesting one. Technology is really moving fast indeed, and World Health Organization bringing this particular technology in monitoring human genetics and all of that is quite a good one indeed. Well, what are your thoughts about this?
I'm in for technology, right?
Of
and
course.
When we as a nation are moving forward in technology, especially when, this is the first time this thing is happening in Africa and it's happening in Nigeria, you would say it's a big one. But the question now is why?
Why? And what is the data for?
What is data for, and who is sponsoring
Who is sponsoring it? And who is, getting hold of the data?
Yeah, so because you see, when they say sequencing human genome, you're talking about the blueprint of someone's DNA.
Exactly. The very
basic components, that make us who we are, why we do what we do, why we develop, how we grow, how we exist.
With what has happened with the COVID fiasco and all of that, it brings this, what's it called, this caution, and people being like, what is really going on? People want to know exactly what is going on. COVID came, crumbled a lot of businesses. Countries are still battling from the effects of that. And then, many lives were lost. Several mistakes was made, even though maybe knowingly or unknowingly, And you have this kind of technology coming forward as well. And then the question is being raised. What is it for? What is the aim of this kind of, technology at the end of the day? It may sound so nice and very good. Yes, it does sound nice. It does look good. Taking, human data, having to have more information and all of that. But what is the end game of having this information?
They talked about how it can help to curb diseases, to
trace foodborne diseases.
Yeah, foodborne diseases, But apart from the foodborne diseases, are there other things that they're able to trace that they are not saying yet? Because if you have access to the very components, the very information that makes me who I am, wouldn't you be tempted to do something else with this information? Are you selling the data? Does somebody have to? And you know that we as Africans, we have diverse, we have diverse genetics.
True.
Very broad and diverse. So why are they coming to Africa this time? And we see that just about 2%, based on research, that just 2% of the Africa genetics have been explored so far. So you're coming to Africa, you're coming to Nigeria. Because you know how, diverse we are. So I'm really concerned about this particular story. Really concerned
about this development.
We should get more information about it to know exactly, okay, what is it? Who is sponsoring it? Why now? Why in Nigeria at this time?
Very interesting indeed. Yes,
Yeah,
indeed. It is really something that cause for concern, and we hope that the Nigerian government or the health ministry will, do their due diligence in getting more information.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when we have situations like this, international organizations wanting to bring technology that looks so bogus and so nice, we do have scientists, we have researchers in the country that can help get more information about this kind of technology before accepting them. Let's get to know the nitty-gritty of all of this kind of things before it's being used and passed like, oh yeah, this is good, this is nice.
Like you said, we have scientists, and you see that over the years we've done copy and paste a lot. We just learn something from the university.
Do we even learn?
Yeah, you just copy and paste. So does it work for you? Does it work for us as Nigerians? Why are we doing this now? We have to know. Okay, foodborne diseases. How many people? What is the percentage of people dying of foodborne diseases?
Exactly. That's
so.
the
Is
kind
it
of
necessary?
Question. Yes.
Is this something that is necessary? Is it benefiting
how
us?
dangerous is foodborne diseases compared to
are there
other kinds
other
of
alternatives?
Yes.
Does it have to be through our genetics?
Exactly. Does it have to be through genetics?
See? So we have to ask questions. Very necessary. We have to ask questions as a nation. We have to ask questions as individuals, because people can't push things on you and you just take it. Questions, it's necessary to ask questions. It's necessary to know what you're into. So if I am able to eat food and I'm fine, because we know that they say, the normal saying that they say, disease is not the key African man. Because normally people eat food that may not be healthy for people outside the country, and we are fine. So is foodborne disease something that we're supposed to be dealing with now? Are there no other, issues that are very necessary at this time that the country is supposed to be facing, rather than spending so much money on technology to deal with sequencing the human genome? So is that necessary? So we really do have to ask questions as a nation.
And those questions need to be answered.
And they have to be answered before we accept any technology of any sort. Like I said before, I'm in for technology. We've seen how far technology has helped, but there are downsides to it. If it's not helping, if there are other, agenda involved, then there's no benefit anymore. It becomes, on the other side, becomes a deficit for us. So we really do have to ask questions, and those questions, like you said, have to be answered.
Of course, yes, indeed. The phone lines are open. Let's hear your thoughts about all of the stories that we brought to you on the Developing Stories this morning. We started off with the sugar, what's it called? Substandard sugar that's being discovered by the FCCPC, and then talking about several other issues that has to do with, bringing in of adulterated products into the country through the porous borders. And then again, we're talking about the borders. Recently the borders were reopened. And I thought once the border became, open for business and all of that, I thought we shouldn't be having the issue of porous borders. The federal government needs to wake up to its call, because if, according to what FCCP said, that because they are unregistered, the products coming through the porous borders, and because of that, they are finding it difficult to trace.
Yes.
So the issue is to make the borders unporous. I think that is the way to tackle this. And if that can be done, then the influx of
fake products,
would be reduced to a large extent.
Yeah, and we saw the other time about pharmaceuticals too that are coming into the country, and these things are things that affect human health.
Of course, because these are consumables.
Yeah, consumables, and they're not things to joke with. because we are already dealing with a lot of things as a nation, and we would not want to add other issues like health issues, you see. So there are things that we really need to look at as a nation, as individuals as well, because like I said earlier, you have to be responsible for what you put into your mouth. You have to be responsible for what you use on your body. So if you're not sure about a particular product, do not purchase it. If you're saying that, okay, maybe the expiring date is not really clear, or you don't even know what the brand name is, or you're seeing a particular ingredient in a product that you know is harmful.
Or you're not even sure.
You're not sure about.
Exactly.
That's why you should do your research. You should be sure about what you are. You are responsible, first of all, for yourself, because if you leave it out to, okay, yes, the government has
the
something.
responsibility.
Yes, they have the responsibility, but you too should be responsible for everything that you take in, everything that you use, everything that you consume, because it's about you. And if you're not healthy, you can't do anything.
Of course, and then of course,
the money you're looking for, you won't get it because you're not fine. You see,
Of
so
course.
you need to take care of yourself as an individual.
So we have that story, and then the very next one was the bill on diaspora voting. You know, skills second reading. What are your thoughts about this? I know a lot of people who have several things to say.
thoughts, yeah.
So please do call us. As you can see, the phone lines are on the screen. Call us. What are your thoughts? You know, bill on diaspora voting skills second reading. Do you think this will work at this time? And of course, if you're in the diaspora, because I know you can see us on all our platforms, you know, across the world, what do you want to say? Do you think, you know, this is a good thing, giving you the opportunity to also let your voice be heard as Nigeria maybe goes to the polls in the next 2 years, right? Yeah.
Very soon. Amazingly.
Amazingly, yes, indeed.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of Nigerians outside the country would love to vote. Yes, and they would love their voices to be heard, because I mean, they're contributing to the revenue of this country. If you think about it, their monies are coming in.
Of course,
You
of
see,
course.
so they would love to be involved in the politics
Electoral
of the country,
process
the
and all of
electoral
that.
processes and all of that. But also, we're thinking about costs. Because if you're saying diaspora, you're talking about countries all over the world. So you
Yes.
have to set up voting mechanisms everywhere for people to be able to
But
vote.
then again, let's think about it from this other end. If setting up voting mechanism, these are things that can be done through technology. You could go online
course,
and
yeah.
you know, cast your vote. If it can be well
Free and fair.
and then if it can be, I'm looking for that word now, that, you know, secure enough. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for. Secure enough, because a lot of things are going on even within the country. We're talking about comparing the U.S. election to
Yeah.
what happens in Nigeria just
Nigeria,
about,
yeah.
that'll be like about 3 weeks ago. And then we're talking about the fact that a country, even most countries in the world, not just U.S., even in Africa, they don't have to go on a so-called public holiday. You shut down businesses, shut down economic activities just to go to the polls.
Yes.
You know, I think civilization has gone beyond
gone
of
beyond
that.
that.
So if we can even get it right at home first, before we start thinking of the diaspora, good. Diaspora thing is a good move.
good, of
But
course.
can we, you hear in the US, people have been doing early voters.
Early voting.
You know, they go to the polls even before the day of the polls. And the polls, the votes are counted. And of course, they have their own issues and
Yeah,
all of
of
that. But
course.
what I'm trying to point out here is the fact that we need to get it right. We need to get
At
the acts
home.
together. Look at what happened just last weekend in Ondo State. Now they've been going the back and forth. I've not been following the story quite well, but I know that there have been issues coming out from that
the
election
election,
that
yeah.
just held in a state, not even a whole
A
country.
nation,
You know,
yeah.
you know. So these are issues that needs to be addressed first and foremost before we start talking of having to have diaspora
Diaspora
voting. Good idea, good one. It can happen. It should happen. But we should put our acts together. You know, the electoral process in Nigeria needs a lot of cleanup before, you know, going on a larger scale. Because, you know, there are some things that need to be put in place to make sure that the processes are free, fair, and, of course, credible.
Yeah, so we can even test it. So some of those technologies you talked about, like you're suggesting that can be used, we can test it for us
Within
first,
the country first,
You know?
yeah.
So if it works, then we say, okay, now it works, since technology is not location bound.
Of course.
You see, so we can now use it outside the country, and then you talk about the issue of cost is now reduced and all of that. So let's test it first. Let's get it right at home, first of all. Put our acts together, like you said, and then we'll be able to move on with that. And I know it will help. It will
Of
definitely
course,
help.
it will help indeed. And then the very last story was on the institute conducting its first human genome sequencing in Nigeria. We talked extensively about that. Of course, we need your thoughts on this as well. As you can see, once again, the phone lines are on the screen, and we expect you to call us at this point in time. We have a lot lined up for you on today's edition of The Money Show, but we'll stick around for just a few more minutes, hoping that you will call us as we, we'll share more thoughts
on it. Yes. So talking about the last story we just read, it's okay. It's a good one in terms of technology, like you said earlier. But like you said, we saw a lot of things happen during COVID
that
we're
in 2020,
not willing, in 2020 that we're not willing to risk anymore. So if a lot of things are going to happen as regards our health anymore, you see, we are supposed to be more cautious about it, because after COVID experience, we're not supposed to be, let things
laid back.
Yes, we're not supposed to be laid back. We're supposed to be hands-on when it comes to issues like this. It's good that, I'm not downplaying the fact that foodborne disease don't affect people. I'm not downplaying the fact that, okay, we can boost our health maybe via the DNA sequencing and all of that. But my concern is, after getting this information,
beyond
who is going to handle it?
And beyond the foodborne disease thing.
Yes, what's it going to be used for?
For me, what I'm seeing here is a situation where you are bringing, I'm sorry, I'm going to go in Nigerian parlance. You are bringing a big gun to a knife fight. That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, I'll try to explain. What I meant by that is the foodborne disease compared to several other diseases, it's quite, if we're going to look at the statistics, I don't think it's that big, compared to some other issues that are, plaguing, the health sector or the health of Nigerians, so to say. There are other issues that are more, more health conditions that are more pressing. More severe, thank you, for that word. More severe than foodborne disease. So they coming in with the gene sequencing thing, genetics and all of that, to tackle foodborne disease. It seems so, so
it's
far-fetched.
Yeah. And the technology that was brought in, are we the ones that are going to pay for it?
Exactly.
Because we have a lot, like I said earlier, we have a lot of issues to deal with as a nation.
Already with the health sector.
A lot. We're talking, and apart from the health sector, we're talking about we need more food in this country. We need security. Security issues is already dealing with farmers in the north and all of that. So
and all of that needs to be tackled.
If we have the money to purchase this big technology for foodborne disease.
Or it's a donation. I think it's coming from the World Health Organization.
Okay, if it's a donation, we think we need donations for other things, right? So if you're going to do...
Stop with the donation already.
If they're going to do the donation, well, just donate for other things that are, more pressing to us as a nation, where there's a lot of things, you see, because the foodborne diseases, people are actually hungry. So how many of them have food before you're talking about foodborne disease? You see, so give them food first. Then we know, okay, yes, we have food, then we can talk about foodborne diseases. So this is a very interesting story.
Very interesting situation indeed. So we still expect you to call us. Well, right about this time, we'll take a very, very quick break, and then we'll be back for more. I think that's the much we can take on developing stories. Oh, we have a call. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Shelby.
I wish you beautiful this morning.
Ah, thank you. It's good to know,
Yes,
Shelby.
I just want to talk on the topic matter, the industrial voting. When we cannot get our own domain data here, it is an opportunity for riggers to rig elections. So for me, I don't think we need that for now. Though we have said it for. If we want to embark on any system, we have to put it on test to see how it's going to be. But not in this magnitude of talking of the general election of presidential, because you cannot test of diaspora on presidential. Even if there's any fault, the moment you go on that on online voting, they will not want to back down whoever that take it will be the one to go for, which is, and at the end of the day, it might be very, much of error. So what I would rather do is just to have a local running for not election, but just for, among us to see how it's going to be. But for me, for now, we are not right for that. The previous election that has been going on within the state, we know that it's not all that okay. So we can all see what is going on. So for me, for now, I think we should hold on, have a test run, and see what we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Segun, for your contribution.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Segun just raised one of the major, concerns about this.
That's quite interesting. Like he said, we should get it right here first.
Exactly.
Let's first of all stop the whole no movement restrictions, stopping of shops, economic activities being affected during elections because we have to vote. Let's first of all be able to vote in our homes.
Exactly.
Or in the office, you go to the office and you use your phone and you vote. You're at home, you use your phone, you vote. You're in your shop, you vote. If we are able to do that and we're successful with that,
exactly,
I think we're then ready to do our diaspora.
And then, of course, let's tackle the issue of election violence. We see a lot of that happening still, in this part. People are still like very, very afraid on election day. Some people will tell you, I'm not going to the polls. I think I hear Lara is with us. Hello. Good morning, Deshi.
Good morning.
Live to us from the UK. Good morning, Lara. How are you today?
And so it was a lot of work dragging myself out of bed this morning. It's very, 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 very cold.
Oh my!
It's good to be here with you to join the morning show today. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate the fact that you could be part of the morning show, even from far away United Kingdom. And sorry about the cold. Just enjoy it like you're there. And then we must say congratulations once again on the graduation of your son.
It's very kind of you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So I think we can take that break now. Dr. Emeka will be joining us shortly for the front burner. Like I said, we are dedicating this particular front burner discussion to the men folk as they celebrated International Men's Day on the 19th of November. You want to stick around for that discussion. It's a very interesting one indeed. So we'll take that break and then we'll be back with the front burner. Stay tuned.
Ellen 24/7 lights up your day with unbeatable shows that guarantees absolute access to stories that revolves around politics, entertainment, and sports. Breaking news, plus detailed reports and analysis. At Ellen 24/7, where the story goes, we go. Ellen 24/7 lights up your day with unbeatable shows that guarantees absolute access to stories that revolves around politics, entertainment, and sports. Breaking news, plus detailed reports and analysis. At Ellen 24/7, where the story goes, we go. at TELN 24/7 Sports. Football just got better. For the fans. For loyalty. For the tackles.
A near supernatural goal from Lionel Messi.
For the celebrations. For the goals. For the love of the game.
Thank you very much for staying tuned to LN 24/7. If you're just joining, you're watching this morning show today, Thursday, the 21st day of November 2024. And we are on the front burner now. Yes, a very interesting discussion we have for you this morning. Just 2 days ago was International Men's Day, which was on Tuesday, the 19th of November, to be precise. The International Men's Day is an annual commemoration to recognize men's contribution to society and address their unique challenges. This year's theme focused on positive male role models, emphasizing the positive impact of men in various spheres of life, including their families and communities. That is why on the front burner today, on this morning show, we will be discussing something really crucial to men's health and their well-being. We are talking erectile dysfunction and the influx of sex enhancement drugs in Nigeria. Erectile dysfunction, often considered to be a taboo topic, is becoming an increasingly common issue among men in Nigeria. Factors such as lifestyle, diseases, stress, and societal pressures contribute to this growing concern. In response, many turn to sex enhancement drugs as quick fixes, fueling a booming yet largely unregulated market. While these drugs promise immediate results, their misuse and the proliferation of counterfeit products present serious health risks. This discussion will explore the causes of erectile dysfunction, the widespread use of enhancement drugs, and the implications for health and society in Nigeria. And our talking points will be focused on the following: prevalence of erectile dysfunction and contributing factors, proliferation of health enhancement drugs, and health and social implications. So all of these is what we are going to be focusing on today's discussion of the front burner. And of course, Lara is live to us from UK, the United Kingdom. And of course, we're going to be discussing all of this together. We also have a doctor joining us virtually from the United Kingdom as well. We'll be introducing him shortly as soon as we have him. If we have Lara, of course, we also have our three-part discussion report that will be giving us more overview, focusing on each part of those talking points. But before we go into those reports, or before we go into the first part of the report, I would like, Lara to, come in at this point and, give us, our thoughts concerning this particular topic. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you very much, ladies. Good morning once again. this topic couldn't have been coming at a more appropriate time. Like you did read out in intro, it was International Men's Day. Today's Wednesday, right?
Today's Thursday.
Thursday. In the course of the week, and the whole attention is focused on men. We are in Africa. We are Africans, we're Nigerians, and we know that for a lot of people in their mind, what makes a man is the ability to be able to perform. And the topic of discussion today is one that is so critical at the moment. Dr. Emeka will explain, because I had a conversation with him, and he did say that there is a rise, there's an increase in the cases of men with erectile dysfunction. And a lot of them, one, because of societal issues and pressure and stigma and discrimination and all of that, do not come to the hospital. So they resort to an alternative source of taking care of themselves. And at the end of the day, they end up coming back to the hospital, because by the time that alternative source backfires, the last hope for them ends up being the same hospital they avoided in the first place. So this is very critical. This is very important. Erectile dysfunction is not a death sentence.
Of course not.
I would tell is the expert. It can be managed. There's treatment now. And I'm hoping and really hoping that our viewers this morning who are, going through that rough patch, be able to get the needed help they need from our conversation. That's my whole contribution. Erectile dysfunction is not a death sentence. There's treatment. Go and meet those trained to handle your condition.
Of course. Yes, indeed. It is not a death sentence. And like you rightly pointed out, for most men, once they experience those kind of, that kind of issue, that health condition, for them they feel that's the end, that's what makes them a man. Their ego is affected. So hence they hide. They don't want to talk about it and all of that. So, and that is why we are bringing it to the forefront, giving, people the opportunity to say, erectile dysfunction is not a death sentence, and it's not something it's also a health condition, and it can be taken care of. It's like you are having your regular malaria or typhoid, and it can be treated, and treated rightly as well. So like I rightly said, we have a 3-part report that is focused on each. You say something, I didn't quite get that.
I think this is more than malaria or typhoid. Really, let's call a spade a spade.
Okay.
It's way beyond that.
Yes,
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say is it can be treated. The same way those other conditions can be treated as well.
I quite agree.
That's what I'm trying to say, yes.
Yes. I remember in those days when HIV/AIDS pandemic came up and all of that, the level of stigma and discrimination, it was a lot of work, to abuse the minds of people that those living with that condition are human beings and there's treatment and, they're normal human beings. It was a lot of work. So we are experiencing that same thing now with erectile dysfunction. And I'm sure with a lot of awareness, with a lot of sensitization, like we did during the HIV/AIDS era, we'll be able to get to a point where people can own up and come to the hospital for care.
Of course. So, Taylor, you want to introduce our first report?
All right, so we'll take the first part of the report on this erectile dysfunction and the contributing factors.
Erectile dysfunction, ED, is increasingly prevalent in Nigeria, affecting men across various age groups and socio-economic backgrounds. This rise is attributed to a complex interplay of physiological and environmental factors, each contributing to the condition's widespread occurrence. One of the most significant contributors to ED is the increase in chronic health conditions, including hypertension, diabetes, obesity, and cardiovascular diseases. These conditions are driven by the adoption of sedentary lifestyles, poor dietary habits, and inadequate physical activities. They directly impair blood circulation, hormonal balance, and nerve function, all of which are critical for normal erectile function. Additionally, The growing prevalence of stress-related disorders such as anxiety and depression further exacerbates the risk of ED, as mental health is closely tied to sexual health. The societal and cultural environment in Nigeria creates additional challenges. Cultural taboos surrounding open discussions about sexual health, often leads to silence, shame, and stigma. This discourages affected individuals from seeking professional medical advice, resulting in delayed diagnosis and treatment. Instead, many turn to self-medication, relying on unregulated, over-the-counter enhancement drugs or herbal remedies, which are often ineffective or harmful. Although ED is commonly associated with older men, an increasing number of younger men are experiencing symptoms. This trend is closely linked to unhealthy lifestyle choices, including smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, drug abuse, and poor stress management. These behaviors not only damage physical health but also contribute to conditions such as performance anxiety. Societal pressures and unrealistic expectations of sexual performance amplify this anxiety, further increasing the prevalence of ED in younger demographics.
So there you have it, prevalence of erectile dysfunction and contributing factors. That is just the background to our discussion for today. And of course, we have a poll on this. Let's quickly take a look at the polls. Taylor.
All right, so the poll is saying, how do you think Nigeria should address the misuse of sex enhancement drugs? 11% is saying more awareness. Another 11% saying ban on ads. And then we have 78%, that's the majority, saying stricter regulation.
Yes, indeed. I think I agree with stricter regulation. And of course, that's the polls. Of course, the question is still there. If you're yet to vote, go ahead and share your thoughts on our X handle. That is LN24_7. That's on X. So we have our guests. Joining us virtually, Dr. John Chukwuemeka Okpara, a urologist of over 25 years experience, and he is presently practicing in the United Kingdom emergency medicine units of different hospitals. He currently works at North Middlesex University Hospital, North London, with a specialty in men's health. And he joins us live today on the front burner. Good morning, Dr. Emeka.
Good morning. Morning.
Thank you very much for joining. Thank you. Okay, let's go right into it. For the sake of our viewers and many that do not know what exactly erectile dysfunction is, what is that particular health condition and how serious is it?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Basically, erectile dysfunction is the inability to maintain erection is sufficient enough for satisfactory sexual performance. That is what it is, you know. It can range from abnormal erection to outright lack of erection. That will be described as erectile dysfunction. Yeah. And this is quite common, compared to what you said. It's no longer a disease of the bottom. It cuts across now. As far back as the 8th century, to be honest, this has been discovered to be a problem, and the old Islamic scholars and the Christian scholars have been trying to find a way around it. It's a problem that is everywhere. The current studies have shown a very huge percentage done in America and Massachusetts in 1994, thereabout, to be close to 50% or more than that cases. In fact, global prevalence is nearly 65% compared to what anybody thinks. So it's a huge problem amongst men, and nobody wants to talk about it. We tend to shy away from it, but it's there, it's existing, is prevalent. To be fair, it's largely underestimated but it's a big problem amongst men, and most men don't want to talk about it, but it's there. You know.
All right, doctor, let's narrow it down to Nigeria. How common is erectile dysfunction among men in Nigeria, and has there been an increase in the case of this medical condition in recent times?
So the reception is a bit poor. Did you say how common?
Yeah, how common is this condition among Nigerian men, and has there been an increase in recent times, you know, among Nigerian men?
Nigerian men are not different from any man. Well, so the same statistics that operate worldwide will also be operating within Nigerian men, as much as we tend to behave as if we're more prevalent or more virulent than other people. The prevalence in Nigeria will still be more than 50-60% in that region. I don't have any data to justify that at the moment, but I can tell you from experience, from interactions, from people I speak to, it's definitely more than 50%. If any studies will be done, it's more than 50%. But global studies done, both in Germany and Cologne studies in Massachusetts, all range about 50%. So that would not be any different. So yeah, it's quite prevalent in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. You know, you've really made it clear, you know, on this issue of erectile dysfunction, and noting the fact that Nigerian men are not different from any other, you know, every other man all over the world. At this point, Lara, I'm sure you have one or two things to say. Please, over to you.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Dr. Emeka. Good morning. Good to see you. Good morning.
Too. Yeah.
Thank you. So my question will be, are there predisposing factors, you know, that lead to this? Or do men just wake up and then suddenly they can't perform?
No, not exactly. The few factors which could be primary to the
Hello, did you hear me?
genitalia, or secondary due to other illnesses or conditions in the body. The primary ones will be issues affecting the male external genital priapism, which you can find in those who got sickle cell. Priapism is the medical terminology where they have erection is not going to go down. That's a dysfunction. The thing stays up and stays up and stays up until it becomes a problem. Staying up more than 4 hours is a problem that needs medical attention. That's part of the dysfunction. And then there are other causes too. Abnormalities in the external genitalia sometimes is, bent the other way. There's a disease condition that makes it difficult for one to perform. And patients who have cancers, so in the penis or around that region, then obviously they cannot do anything. But more importantly, and the one you'll be interested in, are the secondary causes. The secondary causes are quite many, mostly endocrine causes, endocrine and hormonal causes, and conditions that tend to affect our hormones and potency, like diabetes, which contributes up to 65% cases of secondary erectile dysfunction. If, for instance, the male organ is not well developed due to genetic problems, then that will contribute to it. Men with heart problems, and they have poor cardiovascular output, and for that reason, they don't have the strength and the energy to do what they should be doing, is a problem. And the medicines we give them sometimes to treat one problem creates another problem, like putting patients on beta blockers to correct the heart condition, which is a priority over sexual performance, tends to dampen their potential. Alcohol abuse, which is known, that has been known over the years to affect performance. And there are other psychological problems too: stress, depression, psychosis. Those who are not, the brains are not working well, schizophrenics, and older age, obviously. And recently, they have noticed that long COVID syndromes also contribute to erectile dysfunction. Smoking. These are all lifestyle issues that contribute to erectile dysfunction. So it doesn't just happen. Obviously, we know that as we get older, the whole organs in the body begin to wind down, and that also affects that part of the body. You're not going to isolate that, from all the process of aging. In as much as some older men are still able to perform at optimal levels, but the statistics are not that many. So generally, yes, as we get older, things don't work the way it should work. We bend over, we're slower. You don't expect the penis to be functioning as when you're 25. So that would be unrealistic, isn't it? So it doesn't just happen. But then with the young men, alcohol abuse and stress and the worries of life, all bears down, all leads to ED.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm happy you've talked about the underlying factors, health issues, and things that predispose men to ED. Now, I'm also happy that you touched on the fact that the age thing is neither here nor there. We've seen very old men who are, who fire from all cylinders.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very, very
What would
true.
you consider, to be the reason for this? There seems to be this huge conspiracy of silence, right? So what would you consider to be the reason for this silence and other sexual health issues? Because they have a way of fueling and driving people to seeking alternative means of taking care of themselves. And these sometimes, and most times, like you did tell me, have sometimes fatal and maybe near fatal consequences.
Of course. To be honest with you, we do not subscribe to alternative means of sorting this problem out. We will not advise unlicensed herbal preparations. Then they don't work because we do not know the pharmacodynamics of these products. We do not know the mixtures, drug interactions of these products. So I'm a bit reluctant to advise them, or rather, I would say I don't support them, in as much as I know that probably our grandfathers have always taken herbal preparations to support themselves. Being a scientist, I don't think that will be the way to go. In any case, most of our people, most men are still shy of speaking out their problems, unlike our European brothers who are quite open to discuss, how they feel about things. Most of our African brothers don't want to discuss them. If you agree with me, they want to keep it back and find a means to deal with it. If it is possible to speak to somebody more confidently, yes, they'll mention it. But in my practice here, I have noticed that even women come to complain about their husband's lack of ability to perform and seek help. So I don't see why we cannot do the same, but it's not happening that much amongst our people. And in as much as the Europeans are more open to these discourses, the percentage is not very high. They want to deal with it, pretending that it's not a problem, and pretending that, we're still what we used to be when I was 25. Not realizing that a 60, 70-year-old man cannot be as good as a 25-year-old boy. Definitely, that's what I think.
So
we need help.
Please go ahead.
What I'm saying in essence, that our people, all of us, all men, we need help to deal with it instead of applying masses of things. I have seen too many applications, too many injections, too many Chinese products. With due respect to our Chinese people, too many substances in the market, some chocolate bars, some this, all sorts of things that people eat in the background to be able to perform. And these are heavily caffeinated substances that, shoot up adrenaline in your system. The heart is pumping above normal. Somebody suffering from high blood pressure, you take something and then it becomes a problem. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Viagra that was discovered in 1998. accidentally, because it was being used for something else, to deal with cardiovascular issues and pulmonary hypertension. And accidentally, they realized that it was having an effect on the other part of the body. And that took the turn. And since then, new products have come up. I can tell you a publication in February this year where some ED drugs have been found to reduce the incidence of Alzheimer's disease. I don't see why people will not be interested in going along. If that's going to make your brain work better, then the man's going to live a bit longer, hopefully, and a more peaceful life. And for the couple, the family, yes, things are kept together the way it should be, and the man is still sound upstairs. Why not? You know what I mean?
All right, Dr. Emeka, thank you very much. If you're just joining us, we've been talking about erectile dysfunction on the front burner this morning, and we have Dr. Emeka Opara all the way from the UK joining the conversation. Yes, so somebody want to take it up from there, or do I?
All right, with pleasure, most definitely. And Dr. Baker has mentioned a lot of things that are quite interesting. The one that really caught my attention is the fact that, Viagra was accidentally discovered, one, and then two, another ED drug having a positive effect to curing Alzheimer's. That is quite interesting discovery indeed.
Yes.
Okay, we're still talking this issue, and of course, we are not going anywhere. We still have a bit more to talk about. But at this point in time, we'll take a very quick break. After the break, we'll go to our second talking point, which will be introduced with the report, and then we'll be back to talk some more. Stay tuned.
The rising prevalence of ED has fueled a booming market for sex enhancement drugs in Nigeria. While these products are often marketed as quick fixes, their widespread availability and misuse present significant health and social challenges. Sex enhancement drugs are easily accessible through pharmacies, street vendors, and online platforms, often without prescriptions or medical guidance. The lack of regulatory oversight in this market allows the sale of products with questionable safety and efficacy. This accessibility has led to widespread misuse as individuals self-medicate without understanding the underlying causes of their sexual health issues. Also, advertising campaigns, especially on social media platforms, aggressively promote these drugs as risk-free solutions for sexual problems. These campaigns often target younger audiences, reinforcing the notion that enhanced sexual performance is essential for self-worth and societal acceptance. Peer pressure further fuels the demand, with individuals encouraged by their social cycle to use these products to meet perceived sexual expectations. The unregulated market has also given rise to a flood of counterfeit drugs, which are often cheaper but carry significant risk. These counterfeit products may contain harmful substances, incorrect dosages, or contaminants, leading to severe health complications. Despite these dangers, their affordability makes them appealing, especially to those unable to afford safer medically approved treatments.
Yeah, you have it there. The proliferation of sex enhancement drugs, on every platform, not just on social media, everywhere you turn to. Maybe because of the conspiracy of silence, our men folk are quite shy, to discuss this thing. So they go for, this...
Quick fixes.
Yes, exactly. quick fixes. And we are still talking erectile dysfunction and the proliferation of sex enhancement drugs in Nigeria, to be precise. And of course, it affects other parts of the world as well. And we are moving on to our second talking point, which is the proliferation of sex enhancement drugs. We just saw a report on that. And then we still have Dr. Chukwuemeka Okpara, a urologist that is joining us live virtually, of course, from the United Kingdom. And we've talked a bit, and he really, outlined several things that had to do with ED. Also, live from the UK is Lara Uweye-Wise, our new Lara. Thank you very much for joining. Lara, you want to take over from here, I guess?
All right, then. Thank you very much, Dr. Emeka, for still staying with us. What are the factors, in your opinion, and in your years of practice, do you think have contributed and continue to contribute to the widespread and availability and popularity of enhancement drugs? Now, I found out that a lot of men do not even have to be victims of ED, right? They're fine, they're perfect, they're firing well, but they just want more. So they go for all these sex enhancement drugs. You see them, you see the adverts and all that. Hey, 2 hours machine gun and all of that. What are the factors responsible? Because this is no longer about ED, really.
Yeah, it's multifaceted, and there are too many variables. Yes. Number one, you have to look at the psychology of the average man. You want to prove that still, that Superman, you're still the man that can do it and do it and do it. And you don't want anybody to know that you're using something. So in men's circles, they gossip amongst themselves. How many times can you go? 2 or 3 times, as if it's a competition. And for that reason, people are driven to, somebody will come to you that, man, the things are firing again. Do something. And because they can't discuss it with anybody apart from trusted parties, they move on to begin to seek help. Online, they seek help from friends, they seek help with the herbalists. And everybody makes money. The sex trade, whether in drugs or activity, has been known for ages and ages and ages. And sex cannot, apart from these days, you have same sex and LGBTs. Generally, the normal thing is between males and females. And there can never be any sex with a male having an erection. That was the understanding, in as much as the other ways of doing it now. So we'll still continue to seek, Odeku with stout, with whatever. Put milk, put egg, just to give you energy. So we tell you, eat this chocolate. So we tell you, I use one medication. So we tell you, I use this and that. They may have a few anecdotal, experiences in terms of increased performance temporarily, but these are not tested medications. We don't know where it works. With the right medications, we know exactly the process of penile erection. We know exactly the pharmacology of what happens. As a matter of fact, there was a book written, let me just have a look. They call it pharmacosex. Pharmacosex, the understanding of sex. I'll tell you in a minute. Yes. They call it pharmacosex. If you imagine sex and drug use enhancement, it was published in the year 2000. They're trying to justify the use of, MDMA, cocaine, cannabis, ketamine, all sorts of medications. They do something as ED drugs, which we know specifically works on the, on the chemical compounds that lead to erection. Everybody knows that nitrous oxide is the one that relaxes the muscles, for blood to flow in. So those medications that inhibit certain substances to make nitrous oxide available will lead to erection. But I don't know how they work. But just like Lara said, the situation amongst men is a bit dire. They want solution. They want help. How they get the help, they don't want to talk about it. They're not open about it. Nobody can come up and say, I can't do anything. Our Christian brothers and Muslim brothers pretend as if it's not part of normal life. The pastors are suffering. The imams, nobody wants to talk about it. After a while, they give up and they beat their wives. They're thinking that the woman is doing something else. That's not proper. It might just be simple. You're not doing what you should do, and then you take it out on your female part. I don't think it's the way to go. We need to be a bit more open amongst ourselves as men. Say it out. Somebody would help. Somebody who knows what to do would help. It doesn't have to be me. There are quite a few experienced who are able to do a big assessment, because you need to assess the patient primarily to know, is it something you can treat, reversible causes, or what you can support. And there's a specific, treatment plan. I know also that there's this saying that don't use it, you lose it. You have to do it 3 times a day, a week, or rather, to keep it working. That means 21 times a month. I don't think a lot of men can deal with that. So it becomes a bit more difficult. How many people can have sex 3 times every week? You have to try getting a man to do that. So this is a bit odd,
All right.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. No. Thank you very much. Now, we seem to have agreed that the role of social media, the role of advertisements, the role of even word to ear advertisement, about sex enhancement drugs have really caused a lot of damage and harm. In your opinion, do you think that there should be some form of regulation and maybe some kind of policy intervention from the government to sanitize that sector?
Absolutely. Because at the moment, there are no established practitioners in that field of medical practice. It is thrown open from the herbalists, the importers, anybody who can get anything from China, Indonesia, from anything at all, and label it, a performer, a chocolate, you become a horse, a bullet, you shoot and fire, or whatever it is, would sell. People will buy it. We have a huge population, 200 million people, and nobody is talking about an illness that affects 45% of the male population. I think Nigeria male population, probably 40, 50%. If you have a problem affecting about 50% of us, do you not think we need regulation? We do need regulation. The government, the health sector, the NAFDAC people should clearly get involved in this and begin to streamline activities to the point that all these harmful medications we find everywhere should be confiscated, and the importers should be scrutinized where they get it from. I don't see them abroad here. I don't see all those chocolate things abroad. I don't see them in most countries I've been to. Why flocking the whole market? And I can see on social media, every now and again, people die from sometimes taking something that's quite harmful to their lives. They mix it in alcohol, they mix it in this, all sorts of things. Well, it's not doing anything. It causes pressure on the heart, the blood pressure goes up. I think, yes, I agree with you, Lara. We do need to have regulation. We need to have some activity or laws to streamline such activities. 100% agree.
Excellent. We talked Viagra earlier, and I did talk to you about Viagra when I was in Kent some years ago. I was on the team of Nigerian health editors who were taken to Pfizer headquarters in Kent to see their R&D, how they were, I told you that story, and how Viagra was accidentally stumbled upon. They told us then. And it
Yeah.
was meant for something else. And then in the morning,
Yeah.
the people who were being tested on began to have,
Mhm.
severe erections and all that. I want to ask you, Dr. Emeka, for the benefit of our viewers who are going through this and who want to seek help, is there treatment for ED? And how effective is it?
Interesting. Very interesting. There is treatment, yes. You're right. Viagra was an accidental child, and the accidental child has become the primary use of that
Firstborn.
child. Yes, exactly. It became patented over 10 years before other medications started coming in. Yes, there is treatment for ED, quite a few treatments. First of all, we need an assessment of the patient, a focused physical examination of the patient. You need to talk to the patient. Even if you don't see them, you can do a video consultation. There's a 5-point assessment, which is which will ask specific questions and do a score system and make out what is best for the patient. In the course of assessing the patient, you need to look at the orientation, the gender, the relationships, and sexual functions. The quality, how he's doing. You look at their medical history. If it's endocrine, if it's like diabetes, things you can treat, you deal with that. Surgical history, blah blah blah. After all that, then you go to management. Management will involve medications now, which is available. And loads of medications to support the functions of the body, and they range from the ones we know about, drugs. Viagra, the commonest one, that's sildenafil. But beyond that, other medications have come into the market. Viagra is now sold over the counter for tablets, so for like 20 or 30 pounds, 50 milligrams. But in my opinion, there are newer medications coming on board, and they have seen the slow release medications do a better job than the quick ones that gives you the boost like 30 minutes before the show, and you're off. There are other medications like tadalafil, which you can take like on a day-to-day basis, and it lasts in your bloodstream for nearly 36 hours, and you don't feel much. The major side effects will be headache, flushing, maybe dizziness, and some coryzal symptoms. And it's quite huge. I tell you, in the state of California now, they have up to $50 million repeat prescriptions of slow dose medications, low dose, and you take on a daily basis, and you don't feel anything. You wake up in the morning, take a tablet, 2, 3, 4 days down the line, you're functioning like you would never imagine. There are natural things too, natural substances that are known to increase nitrous oxide in the blood, like ginseng, L-arginine. They're all known to work. And then, of course, there are injectables. People can give directly into the penis, direct medication. Afrostadil, they do very well, but that can cause some problem of priapism, and sometimes it leads to issues with the penis. But there are newer ones, much newer medications, stem cell, shock wave treatment, dietary antioxidants, the P-shot. P-shot is becoming very common now. P-shot is like a PRP. I don't know if you heard of that before. They take your serum and run it down the centrifuge and push it back into the male organ. And it does work well for a couple of months, yeah. It's becoming quite popular here in England. They do gene therapies, and loads of newer medicines are coming up. So it's treatable to a large extent, yes. Apart from those where you cannot do anything, like they're too old to do anything at all. Even if you get it up, they won't do anything. Or they have cancers in that place, it becomes just not possible to do anything. Or they have fibrosis, they have Peyronie's syndrome. You need to deal with that first before you can have sex, yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Emeka. Now, with all that you said, I mean, it looks like where you're practicing and other parts of the world have really advanced to a large extent in managing ED. Back home in
Yes.
Nigeria, we seem to have done much. And so we've left the whole thing into the hands of those who are not qualified, into the hands of those I like to call charlatans, who are not professionally equipped to handle this care. Is that a problem for us? And what can we do, ranging from the health workers, government? What can we do to even come up, slightly be apart with what is practiced around the world?
It is a problem for us, Lara. And I think you are in the forefront, your program, the front burner, at the forefront of beginning to create this level of awareness for people to know that they have solutions. They can reach out to those. You have a forum where people can get back to you, and they can reach out to people like us or other people who have solutions. And we have confidential discussions with them and see how best to help them. Yes, there are solutions we can provide. At least in our communities, we can provide the tablets for starters. They slow those tablets. People are taking it instead of going through ad hoc preparations. You go with somebody. You need to take loads and loads of stuff 30 minutes before you start, and then you're jumping up and down. After that, what happens? The next day you go, and you still have a wife to deal with. So there are solutions, and we can help. So we will employ you and beckon on you to use your outfit and those in similar professions like you to create awareness. Sometimes knowledge is power, Create awareness, and people get to know that they have solutions. They can reach out for those to help them in confidence. Men like that word, in confidence, and absolute privacy. Yes, it will be solved. It's not a public thing. You make it absolutely confidential, and they'll get the results.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Emeka. It's been quite enlightening. I know we've had this conversation a couple of times, and it's still a big issue. We've talked about it severally. I'd like to call on Sumbo, Lagos office, to ask more questions and take it up from Sumbo.
Thank you very much, Lara. It's really an insightful one indeed. And thank you so much, Dr. Emeka, bringing all of this to the forefront. And of course, mentioning the fact that, men want confidentiality, but even as much as they want confidentiality, it would be good for them to come forward when they experience these things. And that is what you have really, brought out, for us this morning. Really, really appreciate you. Okay, in wrapping up this discussion, because we're actually on the home stretch now, I wanted you to just highlight again the health implications, health implications and, of course, social implications of using sex enhancement drugs. Just in a few words, and maybe your final thoughts for now as we wrap up this discussion.
Thank you, Sumbo. I mentioned my male colleagues and friends and brothers. We all, at some point, need help. Everybody, probably including myself, at some point. We all need it. So if you need help, the solution to the help is to seek help. And the only way to seek help is seek help in the right sources, the right channel, the right quarters. Then you get the right help that you want, and the solution would come through. The dangers of taking unlicensed medications is beyond what you can imagine. We have a life to live beyond sex. And there's nothing to prove to anyone that you're a super horse when you are not one. Super horse and remain that way. There's time for everything. That does not mean you all way out to drink everything you see on the street. Because my brother did it and it worked for him, or somebody told a story of one root, another root, mix a bowl, this tablet. They don't work. They don't work not because they're not known to work, but because we can no longer ascertain the contents of those products at this stage of our development. The desperation in Nigeria has led a lot of people to mix things you cannot just if you don't even know what's inside it. They fake everything. They fake drink. They fake. The same thing applies to what you drink and put into your system. If you look at our population now, the degree of kidney failures, the number of people you hear dropping dead, kidney failures, nobody has bothered to find out why is it happening. We don't do postmortems. A lot of men just die off like that. They fall down and die. No explanation, nothing. That must be something, some chemical compounds that the body is not going down well with the body. So I warn my brothers, it's not the right way to go. Socially, you're impacting on your family negatively. If the man dies, it's a lot of problem for the poor lady and the children. And for yourself, you want to remain in good health and enjoy yourself with your partner, not to live a disastrous life because you want to prove a point. So seek help from the right sources. That is my advice. And get the right help for yourself. Your problem has a solution, and we can solve it for you. That's my point.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chukwuemeka John Okpara. We really appreciate you being part of the morning show, the front burner on the morning show today, highlighting this very crucial topic that has to do with men's health as they celebrate International Men's Day. Thank you very much. I'm sure that when we call you again, you would be, obliging us.
Thank you very much. I'll be happy.
All right, then. Thank you. All right. As the world commemorates International Men's Day, it is pertinent to note that the rising prevalence of erectile dysfunction in Nigeria and the widespread use of sex enhancement drugs highlights critical health and social challenges. While these drugs may offer short-term solutions, their misuse and the circulation of counterfeit products poses significant risk. Addressing these issues require increased public awareness, proper regulation, and a shift towards open conversations, just like the one we had now about sexual health. So by prioritizing education and professional medical care, we can ensure safer and more effective approaches to managing sexual health. And that's the much we can take on the front burner this morning. We'll take the final part of the report that focuses on health, the health implications, and of course the social implications of using sex enhancement drugs. And we'll take the break after that, and then the morning show will continue with the news at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
Use of sex enhancement drugs has far-reaching health and social consequences affecting not only individuals but also their relationships and communities. The health complications associated with the misuse of enhancement drugs are severe and sometimes life-threatening. These include cardiovascular issues such as heart attacks and dangerously high blood pressure, liver and kidney damage due to toxic substances in unregulated drugs, psychological dependency, where individuals rely on drugs for sexual performance, worsening their ED symptoms over time. These risks are particularly pronounced for individuals with pre-existing conditions such as hypertension, diabetes, or heart disease, making unsupervised drug use especially dangerous. Dependency on sex enhancement drugs often leads to strained relationships, as unrealistic expectations around sexual performance create pressure and dissatisfaction. This over-reliance can diminish confidence in natural sexual ability, leading to low self-esteem, anxiety, and depression. The psychological toll of these issues often spills over into other aspects of life, affecting social interactions and workplace performance. Moreover, the widespread use of enhancement drugs often prevents individuals from seeking proper medical attention for the root causes of ED. Self-medication and reliance on over-the-counter solutions can delay diagnosis and treatment of underlying health conditions, which may worsen over time. This neglect of professional care increases the likelihood of long-term complications, not just for ED, but also for the other health issues that are often at the core of the problem. The increasing prevalence of erectile dysfunction in Nigeria is a multifaceted issue, driven by physical health challenges, psychosocial barriers, and lifestyle choices. The unregulated proliferation of sex enhancement drugs has compounded these problems, creating a cycle of misuse, dependency, and neglect of proper medical care. With this, it is crucial to address these issues by promoting awareness of the underlying causes of ED, regulating the market for enhancement drugs, and encouraging individuals to seek professional medical advice rather than self-medicate.
What makes the political system what it is today? What are the recurring issues? Order. The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension. The instability of the system. Join Ellen 24/7 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
Apologize for saying that I was corrupt. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
Watch Politics now on Ellen 24/7.
Don't miss Politics Now on Ellen 24/7.
Stay up to date with Ellen 24/7. Ellen 24/7. With news, politics, business, sports, and more on Ellen 24/7. Where the story goes, we go.
Thank you for staying tuned. It's time to look at the stories making the rounds at this time. The Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has announced the resigning of the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Councils of the Federal Universities of Oye-Ekiti and Lokoja to enhance national cohesion and improve the governance of this institution. Following an approval by the President, Tinubu, the swapping involves Senators Victor Ndoma Egbe San being reassigned as Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council of Federal University, Oye-Ekiti, while Engineer Kayode Ojo will assume the same role at the Federal University, Lokoja. This change comes after it was noted that the current Pro-Chancellor of the Federal University, Oye-Ekiti, Engineer Kayode Ojo, is an indigene of Ekiti State. As part of the ministry's commitment to promoting national integration and ensuring impartial oversight, it is standard practice for pro-chancellors to be appointed from outside the state of the university. This ensures unbiased governance and supports the core values of diversity and national unity. Dr. Alausa emphasized that this reassignment is a step towards strengthening the leadership structure of Nigeria's federal universities, ensuring that they operate under fair and inclusive governance.
A viral video circulating on social media has depicted a senior army officer and 2 soldiers brutalizing a man in Abuja metropolis. The army personnel, identified as a major general, and his escorts were seen assaulting the man for overtaking their vehicle. According to the 1 minute 57 seconds video seen by local TV station, the man was seen groaning in pain and saying, "Did I pass your car? How did I pass your car? Oh my God." While being brutalized by soldiers, despite the pain, the soldiers did not hold back on inflicting more beating on the man, as a woman was heard shouting in the background, "He's not feeling fine, he's not feeling fine." The army personnel also attacked the female passenger for recording the encounter. "Give me the phone, give me the phone," one of the soldiers was heard saying while attacking the woman.
In another development, meanwhile, the acting chief of army staff, Olufemi Oluyede, a lieutenant general, has ordered an immediate investigation into an alleged brutality by some soldiers. This is contained in a statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Onyema Nwachukwu, on Tuesday in Abuja. Nwachukwu, a major general, said a viral audio-visual recording circulating on social media platforms purportedly showed a senior army officer and 2 other soldiers in an altercation with a man and woman within the Abuja metropolis. According to him, the circumstances leading to this incident are not clear at the moment. And in a quote, he says, however, the acting chief of army staff has ordered an immediate investigation to unravel the true circumstances surrounding the altercation. The Nigerian Army remains committed to serving and protecting all law-abiding citizens, Nigerians, as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Moving on, Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has written the Senate seeking confirmation of the appointment of commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Tinubu's request is contained in a letter to the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and read during plenary on Tuesday. The letter is titled, "Request for the Confirmation of Appointment of Commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission." The letter read, "In compliance with the provision of Section 154, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, I am pleased to forward for confirmation by the Senate the appointment of the following 3 nominees as commissioners in the Independent National Electoral Commission. The nominees, according to the letter, include Takoro Yusuf, National Electoral Commissioner representing Northwest, Sunday Aja, National Electoral Commissioner Southeast, and Sesei Ibiyemi as Resident Electoral Commission, Rec for Ondo State."
And to some international stories now. The United States shuts its embassy in Kyiv on Wednesday morning due to what it called the threat of a significant airstrike, a day after Ukraine used American missiles to hit a target inside Russia in what Moscow described as an escalation in the war. Later, after an air raid siren in the early afternoon jangled nerves in the capital, Ukraine's military. Military spies say agencies said Russia was trying to sow panic by circulating fake online messages about a massive looming missile and drone attack. A U.S. government source said the embassy closure was related to ongoing strike of air attacks. The Italian and Greek embassies said they too had closed their doors. The French embassy remained open, but urged its citizens to be cautious. Russia has been signaling the United States and its allies for weeks that if they give permission to Ukraine to strike deep into Russian territory with Western-supplied missiles, then Moscow would consider it a major escalation. Russia's foreign intelligence chief, Sergei, said in an interview published on Wednesday that Moscow would retaliate against NATO countries that facilitate long-range Ukrainian missile attacks against Russian territories.
Still in the U.S., the United States vetoes a push to call for a ceasefire in Gaza, the immediate unconditional permanent ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas, and the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. The United States on Wednesday vetoed a UN Security Council push to call for a ceasefire in Gaza that Washington said would have emboldened Hamas. The resolution demanded an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire in the war between Israel and the Palestinian group, along with the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. But the wording angered Israel, with a senior U.S. official warning ahead of the vote that the resolution had the potential only to buoy Hamas, which will have no reason to come to the negotiating table. Israel's UN Ambassador Danny Danon said in a quote, "The resolution being considered by the Security Council today is nothing short of a betrayal." All right, so this is all we have for you in the news today. You can get more information on our website, www.ln247.news, and on all our social media handles. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue with the health and lifestyle segments. Stay tuned.
Stay up to date with LN 24/7. LN 24/7. With news, politics, business, sports, and more on LN 24/7. Where the story goes, we go.
LN 24/7 is first of all a news station.
Well, we'll continue with updates from the just concluded governorship
in the Southeast has raised questions if INEC will be able to conduct elections.
With a core team of over 40 correspondents spread across Nigeria.
Nigeria is set to take its place.
And affiliates in Africa, Europe, America, and Asia. We give you news as it breaks from the perspective you can trust.
LN 24/7 News, where the story goes, we go.
Ellen 24/7 lights up your day with unbeatable shows that guarantees absolute access to stories that revolves around politics, entertainment, and sports. Breaking news, plus detailed reports and analysis. At Ellen 24/7, where the story goes, we go.
Ellen 24/7 is first of all a news station.
We'll continue with updates from the just concluded governorship
in the southeast has raised questions if INEC will be able to conduct elections.
With a core team of over 40 correspondents spread across Nigeria.
Nigeria is set to take its place.
And affiliates in Africa, Europe, America, and Asia. We give you news as it breaks from the perspective you can trust.
Ellen 24/7 News, where the story goes, we go.
What makes the political system what it is today?
What are the recurring issues?
Order.
The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension.
The instability of the system.
Join Ellen 24/7 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
Apologize for saying that I was corrupt. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
Watch politics now
On Ellen 24/7.
Don't miss Politics Now on Ellen 24/7.
Maternal health in Nigeria faces critical challenges, with one of the highest maternal mortality ratios globally, estimated at around 576 deaths per 100,000 live births. The introduction of free CS procedures is a step aimed at reducing this alarming rate by enhancing access to life-saving medical interventions for pregnant women. This measure could play a significant role in addressing preventable causes of maternal death, including hemorrhage, obstructed labor, and fetal distress, by ensuring timely access to cesarean sections. The financial costs of health care has long been a barrier for many Nigerian women, with surgical interventions like CS being prohibitively expensive for those with limited or no access to health insurance. The removal of financial constraints through free CS initiatives means that more women, especially those in rural and underserved areas, can access the specialized care required to handle complications during delivery. This financial support helps ensure that emergency obstetric care is not delayed, ultimately contributing to healthier delivery outcomes for both mother and babies. The availability of free CS procedures could greatly reduce the incidence of maternal deaths and pregnancy-related complications. For example, hemorrhage, which accounts for a large proportion of maternal deaths, can be managed effectively with timely surgical intervention. Similarly, obstructed labor, often leading to fatal outcomes when left untreated, can be safely managed through a CS procedure. Free CS services ensure that women experiencing these complications have immediate access to the care they need without delay or danger of financial limitations. While accessibility is a crucial aspect of maternal health care, the quality of care provided also plays a critical role in determining health outcomes. Implementing free CS procedures must go hand in hand with investment in training, facilities, and equipment to support safe and effective surgeries. Healthcare facilities across Nigeria, particularly in remote regions, often face a shortage of trained personnel, medical supplies, and basic infrastructure. To improve outcomes and build trust in healthcare, The initiative should also focus on equipping hospitals, especially at the grassroots level, to provide high-standard CS procedures. Aside from financial barriers, social and cultural factors also impact a woman's decision to undergo a CS. Traditional beliefs, lack of awareness, and stigma around surgical births can discourage women from seeking CS interventions even when medically indicated. Free CS procedures, coupled with community outreach and education efforts, can help shift perceptions and encourage acceptance of CS as a safe and viable option in cases of high-risk pregnancies. The introduction of free CS procedures for pregnant women in Nigeria presents a proactive approach to tackling the high maternal mortality rate. By offering financial support and enhancing accessibility, this initiative has the potential to improve maternal health outcomes significantly. The government and healthcare providers must ensure that the program includes a robust focus on the quality of care, proper funding, and education to maximize its impact. With a holistic approach, free CS procedures could become a powerful tool in Nigeria's fight to reduce maternal mortality and safeguard the health of mothers and their newborns. In Nigeria, maternal and child health care access remains highly unequal, with significant barriers for low-income families and rural populations. Approximately 43% of the Nigerian population lives in rural areas, where healthcare facilities are often scarce, underfunded, and distant, making access to essential health services challenging for pregnant women in these communities. This limited access contributes to Nigeria's high maternal mortality ratio and reinforces disparity in maternal and child health outcomes. Free CS procedures can play a crucial role in increasing healthcare accessibility for Nigeria's most vulnerable women. By removing financial barriers, low-income women who previously could not afford cesarean sections can now receive timely, potentially life-saving interventions during childbirth. The initiative also addresses geographic disparities, promoting health equity and supporting Nigeria's commitment to universal health coverage. In Nigeria, 60 to 70% of maternal deaths occur in rural areas, largely due to access to healthcare facilities, skilled birth attendants, and emergency obstetric services. Rural women are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth than urban women, a gap that can significantly be narrowed with free access to CS procedures. Only 40% of Nigerian women give birth in healthcare facilities, with a much lower rate in poorer rural areas. Women in lowest income quintile are 40% less likely to have a skilled attendant present during childbirth than those in the highest income quintile. Free CS procedures offer a solution for low-income women to access necessary health care, promoting a more equitable distribution of services. The introduction of free CS procedures is a progressive approach to reduce health disparities. Rural women, especially in marginalized northern or southern regions, often face logistical and financial barriers to healthcare access. For example, distances to the nearest healthcare facility can be over 50 kilometers, a journey many cannot afford or manage, especially in emergencies. Free CS services, especially if paired with mobile clinics or community health initiatives, can make healthcare accessible to women previously excluded from essential services. Free CS procedures also work to address financial barriers, as out-of-pocket healthcare expenses make up to about 77% of total healthcare expenditures in Nigeria, the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. By reducing out-of-pocket expenses for low-income families, this initiative can mitigate catastrophic health expenditures and enable more equitable access to care. Free CS procedures align closely with Nigeria's broader effort to achieve UHC, with UHC as a top priority under Nigeria's National Strategic Health Development Plan 2. Scaling up free and accessible services such as CS procedures support the government's commitment to ensuring affordable and equitable health care for all Nigerians. Free CS procedures could represent a fundamental step in Nigeria's healthcare evolution, illustrating how public health initiatives can improve outcomes by addressing financial, geographic, and social barriers to healthcare. Achieving UHC requires an inclusive approach, and free CS services can set a precedent for expanding other maternal and child health services, benefiting Nigeria's population long term. Through well-coordinated efforts and strategic partnerships, Nigeria can lead the way in maternal health reform, building a future where every woman has the opportunity for safe childbirth. The introduction of free CS procedures for pregnant women in Nigeria presents significant economic and social benefits. Beyond its impact on maternal and child health, this initiative has the potential to contribute to Nigeria's broader economic stability, growth, and development. Reducing maternal mortality, improving healthcare access, and investing in maternal health yield returns that extend beyond individual lives to influence productivity, workforce participation, healthcare savings, and national development goals. The Nigerian government's National Health Policy 2016 sets an ambitious goal of reducing maternal death ratio to 30 deaths per 100,000 live births by 2025. Lowering maternal mortality through accessible and affordable CS procedures directly contributes to achieving this target, which can unlock economic potential and improve well-being of Nigerian communities. Reduced maternal mortality can lead to higher productivity and economic growth. Healthy mothers can continue their contributions to the workforce, both formally and informally, and are less likely to suffer from long-term complications that could limit their ability to work. Additionally, every maternal death avoided translates to a woman who can support her family's well-being, participate in the economy, and raise healthy children who are likely to become productive adults. Free CS procedures can also ease the financial strain on Nigeria's healthcare system by providing timely and appropriate surgical interventions for high-risk pregnancies. Healthcare providers can prevent costly implications, emergency treatments, and long-term healthcare expenses associated with maternal and neonatal morbidity. Healthy mothers generally have healthier children, creating a ripple effect that reduces the need for costly medical interventions down the line. This proactive approach to maternal health care can lower the national healthcare burden, redirecting resources toward preventive and other critical health care services. The economic complications of this are vast. Studies indicate that every dollar invested in maternal health can return approximately $16 in economic benefits due to the combined impact of improved productivity, reduced healthcare costs, and a healthier future generation. By removing financial barriers to critical maternal health services, free CS procedures help alleviate poverty, especially for low-income families who might otherwise face catastrophic health expenses. Investing in maternal health through free CS procedures fosters a healthier population. This initiative ensures that more children grow up with mothers who can provide them with the care, nutrition, and support needed for proper development, which is crucial for breaking cycles of poverty and poor health. Healthier children also have better educational outcomes, making them more likely to contribute positively to the economy as adults. By supporting maternal health, Nigeria can strengthen its human capital base, which is essential for long-term socio-economic development. Countries that prioritize maternal and child health see benefits that extend well beyond health care, positively impacting education, employment, and community stability. The long-term impact of such an investment creates a foundation of sustainable economic growth, as healthier mothers and children contribute to a stronger and more productive society.
Thank you very much for staying tuned to Ellen 24/7. You're still watching this morning show this Thursday morning. And of course, the Thursday morning edition is dedicated to health and lifestyle. If you're just joining, you've missed quite a bit, don't you think?
Yeah,
they
it's
have
been
actually.
a robust conversation so far.
Yes, we've had a very robust conversation on the front burner talking about erectile dysfunction and the proliferation or influx of sex enhancement drugs. You know, that was, so you could watch out for a retake, or you go to our website to check out that particular discussion. Now, we are going to something that we discussed some time back, talking about vaccine, you know, and then the issue of consent, especially in Lagos State, because there were issues that came up about the fact that, you know, the Ministry of Health in Lagos going to schools, primary schools, children, giving them vaccines. And then a group of people came up to say, you can just go and give our children vaccines without the parents' consent. And then there was a stay from the court, Lagos State Court, put a stay on that issue. And then all of a sudden, there was also a form that now came from the Ministry of Education saying that once a parent fills that form, fills the name, and then signs the form, that is a more or less like a consent to say that, go ahead, you can give my child or my ward the vaccine. And this group of people were on the morning show some time back, and we thought, let's bring this back. Because you could see in the metropolis of Lagos, a lot of health workers are still going around vaccinate children. In fact, they were still in my neighborhood just early this week. Wow. And, the question keeps coming up. Okay, so how are they going about it? So we thought we should bring this information to you, our viewers, and, get more information about what really this consent is about and why you should be able to say yes or no whether you want your child to be vaccinated or not. So we had this discussion some time back, and then let's see it just to refresh our minds and give us more information, and then we'll be back to wrap up the morning show. Stay tuned.